We're going to cover some of the shotguns that are most commonly used in cowboy action shooting. The one we're going to start with is the Winchester 97. This is a replica of a Winchester 97. What it is an exposed hammered pump gun. So what we're going to do, if you're just getting started in this game, I'm going to first cover the easiest way to load it. The easiest way to load this gun is one shot at a time. And what you want to do on that is just reach down, grab one round, and most people that just are single loaders, is what we call them, will have single loops. These are happen to be double loops. But you come down, you grab that one round, and grab it just like that with the point of your finger here. What that does when you don't have it, it's just the same as putting your finger in there. You have something to guide it into. So what you do is you come down, you grab that round, you look at the port, and you just simply put your finger into it and fire the round. So it's just down, in, and fire. And if you'll notice, I'm moving the gun as I'm going and shooting. I'm not standing still, stopping, dropping, then moving. So you want to grab it as you're moving. The simplest way to do this is just reach down, grab, fire. Then once you fire, you're back to here. Just reach down, grab that next round, same way, looking at the port, put it in the port, and fire. It's a very fast and effective way to do it. It's not quite as fast as some of the other techniques, but it's a surefire way to learn how to shoot a 97. The second load I'd like to show you is the double load. In this game of cowboy action, we have flipper targets that actually flip a clay bird up in the air, which you'll knock that shot down, and then that bird will go up, and some of them only go 6, 8, 10 feet in the air. So people are sometimes a little apprehensive about, like on a single loading, if you fire the shot and then that thing's going to be going down, the bird's going to go in there and they get all nervous and they drop that round, the bird hits the ground, you got to miss. So some people like to do the double load to ensure they have that second shot readily available. So let me show you what the double load is. The double load is, and the way I like to grab these shells is take that thumb right in back behind the shells with the middle finger coming in the center right here. Now I bring these fingers down the side so when I pull those shells out, I have good control over them. So what a double load is, I come down, I grab those shells, and I bring out the bottom shell and drop it into the chamber. At the same time, I'm bringing the butt of the gun up underneath my armpit and then just clamping down on it. What that does is allow me to close the shotgun. Now this one just goes up underneath and you push it in. And as I'm pushing it in, I usually start releasing right here to where I can bring the gun right up to the shoulder and fire 2 shots. You have a fast follow-up shot. The next load I'd like to show you is a 2-drop system. What this is, and this is the one I personally use, is you're grabbing these shells the same you do with the double load with the thumb behind, middle finger, 2 fingers here, and you're pulling the shells out like this. But this time, other than going underneath with the second shell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the bottom one in just like the other load, then I'm going to come back, grab it, close the gun, fire, and as cock the gun, and I fired it with the middle finger, I come in this side, drop it in, and fire. That's what the 2-drop system. Now there's a couple of different ways of actually firing the gun. I use the middle finger. Some people like holding this shell and using the regular trigger finger to fire it, come in, and drop. I personally prefer the middle finger because it's in the gun. The shell is more apt to be away from the gun, so if I get any recoil, it's not going to knock my shell around a little bit. But also, the shell's up higher in this position than it is in this position, which is a little easier to get to the chamber. So once I fire, I can come in down to the side. Here, you can tell it's a little bit longer. Either way works, and we're talking about just a very, very little time on either way. So just whichever one you practice is what you're going to be good at. Now under speed, this load should look something like this. Comes in and it's very quick. You just go in, you drop it, and it's very easy to do. The last load I want to talk to you about is over the top. Now in this loading technique, what you're going to do is reach down and grab these shells, thumb behind, hand on top, so you come out, there again you have good control of them, and then we're going to just simply put them into the chamber. So what you want to do, you want to come down, reach for your shells. As you're coming up, bring the round in, and it's important that you bring it in with a little bit of nose forward other than trying to hit it flat, because if you hit it flat, you're trying to get the shell into the chamber this way. If you keep it nosed up, you can come back here, you can be in here, and the shell will go on in. So what you do is you grab that shell, you come in, you drop it, you roll the gun up, fire, and from here, after you fire, if you'll just roll that gun up a little bit, and you can just do it with your elbow, you can see the port. You have the other shell in your hand here. You just nose it in and fire. Now, I'm a right-hand loader, but I've learned how to load the two-shot over the top, and there's a reason for that, because sometimes we shoot out of scabbards in cowboy action shooting. And what a scabbard is, of course, you go into a scabbard and it's usually up into here. If I reach in here with my right hand and grab this gun and pull it out, I'm just all messed up on how I need to shift the gun, change everything around and shoot. Over the top out of a scabbard is definitely a better way to shoot. All I have to do is come in and reach the gun with my right hand, thumb over the bolt, pull the gun out, and as I pull the gun out, let my forearm, let the butt of the stock rest on my forearm. That way I have complete control. I can pull it out, at the same time grabbing shells. I can drop that shell in, fire, and fire. That's a lot faster than me trying to get the gun out left, change it over to this way, then put the shells in. So it's a good to practice this, and you need to learn how to at least load two over the top. Now the guys that do this, that do grab the 4 and 6, they spend hours and hours and hours of practice, and you can do this if you have the time. But most of their shotgun belts won't be quite like this one. A lot of them wear the canvas belts, and they have they're real light leather here, to where when they come in to grab the shells, they can push them up and bunch the shells together and pull out 4. And this is called a diamond load. And they can grab 4, and then it's just roll in, roll in, roll in. 4 shots, the same as you do 2. But you need to have the right equipment for that. And there's several manufacturers out there that sell 4-shot shotgun belts just for this particular load. So it's good to learn how to shoot over the top, whether you're going to do it all the time or not. And that's what I've done. The next shotgun we're going to talk about is the basic double barrel. These guns are getting more and more popular in cowboy action shooting. One of the reasons that we're staging off tables nowadays, and years past, a lot of the guns were vertical. And when they're vertical staging, it was always easier to shoot a 97 because you didn't have to worry about the gun closing on you. But now that most configurations is always on top of the table, there's not much difference, and there's a lot less parts to break in a double barrel. So let's go through the loading technique on a double barrel, and there's 2 different ways that's successful at loading this shotgun. One, let's start with the left-hand load. The left-hand load is just like it says, we're loading with the left hand. Now you want to grab the shells, there's 2 different ways of grabbing the shells and 2 different ways of doing it, and there's 2 schools of thought on it. One is for the thumb to come in behind, finger on top, fingers laying against, and picking them out just like this, and there you got good control. The other one that people like, they come down, they put the thumb behind, finger in front, 2 fingers this way, and come in and load this way. It just depends on what you practice is what you're going to be good at. Personally, I think it's better to come in and grab them with the thumb behind, the finger on top, because you have a little bit more control. And I can come into the shotgun this way. What you don't want to do is try to stick them in straight. You want to bring them in at an angle, and all you have to do is come in and hit it at an angle like this, and then you just simply roll them in. As soon as they hit inside the chamber, you let go of the thumb and you just slide them down, come up, and fire. With the other technique, and there's some very successful shooters that do load this way, they come up, they're doing the same thing. They come up and they're just hitting it like this and down and coming in. It really comes down to what you practice is what you're going to be good at. So on a double load, what you want to do, if you're starting with a shotgun like this, or if you're picking it up off the table, you want to bring it into your shoulder. If I'm starting here, I'm going to drop it to my shoulder. If I'm picking it up off the table, I'm going to bring it into my shoulder. So all I have to do when I close that gun, it's ready to fire. So if I start here, it's up, it's in, it's just shoot. And then it comes, let me do it one more time, down, up, in, fire. Now, let's get rid of the shells. To get rid of the shells in this way, and you're going to shoot left-handed, after I fire them, I open the gun, push on the lever, break the gun, and there's several different ways of getting rid of the shells. You can pop them, pop them. You can roll them out, and some people just hold up like this and then come back down. Whichever way you practice, again, is what you're going to be good at. Now, on these shotguns, there's a couple things you need to do to make that go successfully. And one on the load, if you'll look right here on the barrels, you can see they're chamfered. Now, normally from the factory, what they'll come, they're very sharp edged. So most everybody shoots a double barrel, just bevels that out to where when that shell goes up in there, you don't have to hit it dead on. You can come up into that bevel and it'll slide right on in. So that's a very good idea. The other thing is slicking up the inside of the chambers. Most of these shotguns are a little bit rough here. They don't have ejectors. They just have distractors. So you have to forcefully get rid of the guns, and you don't want to have to be down here plucking them out. So you want this polished. There's several outfits that sell a hone that goes in there that you can just hone that out with oil and it'll smooth it out. If you're not sure what to do, talk to one of your gunsmiths. They'll tell you what you can do. There's some other ways of doing it, but a hone's the easiest and fastest way to do it. So that's some things you need to do with a shotgun. Now on the right-hand load, where we came in with the left-hand load at this angle, we're going to come in with the right-hand load at exactly the opposite angle. We're going to come in down low, not like this. Now on the right-hand load, after you break the shot, you come down, your hand reaches down, it's thumb behind, finger in front, just like a typical, a lot of the other loads, and you pluck them out. You come up, you lay them in this angle, and you just simply put them in and fire the shotgun. There's a lot of very successful, the most successful double barrel shooters that I see, most of them will load their first rounds left-handed and everything after that right-handed. And some of the most successful and the best double barrel shooters in the world are in Australia and New Zealand. And that's what a lot of those guys do, because they're not allowed to own 97s. So this is what they specialize in. In this segment, we're going to cover loading and unloading the guns off the tables and also vertically. And we're going to start with the 97. There's a couple different ways that you can stage this gun flat on the table. It depends whether you're a right-hand loader or a left-hand loader. Myself being a right-hand loader, I'll always want to stage this port down. And the reason I want to do that, because when I pick that gun up, the gun comes up with the port right here on the right side where I can go in and load. If I stage that gun this way, of course, if I just naturally pick that gun up, as you can see, it'll come up upside down. So the best way to stage this is flat down. And another reason I like that is if I happen to be shooting a rifle here or something other like that, there's no chance for brass to go into my port. If brass goes into your port, it can cause a real problem. So anytime it's on the table, there again, I always put the trigger guard at the back of the table, SAS legal. And when you pick this gun up, you want to make sure you pick it up on the frame and on the forearm. And that way, when you pick that gun up, it won't close on you. You got it locked. So if I picked it up out here and I happen to come up and just let it move a little bit, you can see the flag comes up, the bolt goes forward. The first thing I got to do, I got shells in my hand. I'm having to open it back up. So grab it, I use 2 fingers on the forearm and 2 on the frame. Now I got the gun locked. I can come right in with my shells, and it works really well. Now when I'm putting that gun back away, it's the same principle as what we did in the rifle. After I'm done shooting, if I'm going to the right, I'll open that gun, I come back to here, and just lay it down and go. If I'm moving to the right, I'll fire the shot, and then just simply with my right hand, usually use my forearm to help control the gun, lay it down, and go. Now if you're an over-the-top shooter, of course you need your port up, because when you pick that gun up, you want that port right here where you can put your shell into it. So if I'm shooting a rifle from back over here, it's not a big deal. I'll always have that port up where I can already have the shells out, come into it, and drop the shell and shoot. Now what if you're shooting a 73 from right here, which throws the brass up and it comes down. If you're worried about a piece going in there, what you need to do is go ahead and turn it over just like I do on the right hand, but let it come back just a little bit to where you can expose the bolt. So that way when you pick the gun up, all you do is bring your hand up underneath and put your thumb on the bolt. That'll keep it from going closed on you. Now you can roll it over with your shells and come in and shoot. It's a fairly fast operation. You can just come in and shoot like that. So, and putting the gun down, of course, same principle as right hand, doesn't matter. Down this way if you're going this way, like this, you're heading that way. So that's off the table on a 97. Let's talk about the double barrels off the table. There again, it's going to depend if you're a left or right hand loader and how you like to load this gun. If you're a left hand loader, I'm moving from left to right or even right to left, what I want is the back of the trigger guard on the table with the grip exposed right here. That way, as I come into the gun, you can already have your shells. You simply grab the gun at the grip, bring it up into your shoulder, shells in, and fire. Now if I'm a right hand loader, and I prefer right hand loading, you need the gun turned opposite. And with the same principle as the 97, you don't want to grab the gun out here and pick it up and have a chance of it just going closed on you. So it's better to pick it up at the joint, right in here. Just reach down and grab it like this to where you have control of it. Then you can naturally just slide your hand up. What you do on it, same principle. You come in, you have your shells. You come in, you grab it right here to where it balances. It won't go closed on you. Drop your shells in, up, and fire. Now once you fire the shotgun, and you're going to have another gun after it, after you fire, you got to break it open. You want to be careful not to just set it down and let it go closed. So you have to be a little bit more careful with the double barrel. Once you fire it, bring your hand back here to where it's back into the joint again. Then you can just come down and set it and go. Right hand, all you need to be careful about, if I'm going to the left, I fire the gun, what you want to be careful of, just keep it, you see, just keep the weight and just kind of drag it in and go. The biggest problem with a double barrel after you fire it and you've got to go to the next gun is just that. Is a gun going closed on you, then you got to stop and reopen it, because all shotguns got to be left open and empty when you leave. So working off the table, that's the two most important things to do as far as with the 97 and the double. Let's move on to shotguns off the ground. Again, we'll start with the 97. There again, as a right hand loader, same as the table, I'll have it sitting here in this same face the same direction, and I'll pick the gun up the same way. What we want to do is come right down here and grab it at the fore end and the frame and pick it up the same way, because if you grab it a little high, what's going to happen? It's going to close on you, and the first thing you're going to have to do is reopen it before you can load it. So it's really important as you're coming into the gun, be looking at that spot so you can grab that gun, already have your shells in your hand if you're moving to it, and come up and fire. Now putting the gun away, as soon as I fire that gun, it's coming back. Now I want to bring my hand in front of the fore end. If I leave it here, there's a chance it'll close as it goes down. So after I fire that gun, I'll come up like this, and I'll just reach out here and grab the gun so it won't go close on me, and just stick it as you're moving. So keep yourself moving. The whole important thing is to put it here and go. You don't want to sit here, shoot, put it down, and then go. You're wasting time. Now, I'm coming in from the right side. It's the same principle. It's a good thing. You can come up short with your foot and reach out and grab it if you don't have much to go around, but it's better if you're coming into it, if you're moving on down the stage, is to go ahead and just step around it, grab the gun, have your shells ready, same thing. Now, as I go that way, it's the same principle. Go back, shift up here, grab, put it down, stick it. You don't want to just kind of lightly and let it go back. Go ahead and stick that gun in and go. Now for over-the-top shooters. They like to have their gun turned this direction for the same reason they do off the table. If it's on the table, they like it the same way. What they'll do is come down normally, won't grab it all the way down here because there's a chance it can still go close on you if the gun's loose. Take that thumb, come right in behind right here and put your thumb on the bolt like this. And that way, that gun's good and locked. Have your shells ready. You just come up, grab it, in, and fire. Putting the gun away, same thing as if you're a right-hand loader. Now, if you're moving from the right to the left, you'll just need to come around, step around the gun, and you can reach right down the same way, up and in. So that's the basic way to take care of a 97 off the ground. Let's move on to a double barrel. They can be just a little bit more complicated. In years past, the 97 was a more popular gun because most of our guns and stages were staged this way and set off the table. Nowadays, most of your shotguns are always off the table. So that's why the double barrels had a resurgence in the sport, is because we're not having to stage them this way. A little bit more difficult. Now, if I'm a left-hand or a right-hand loader, most cases this is how the gun's going to be staged. Occasionally there'll be some props where you can do this. In this case, you can do that. The one thing you got to be careful about, if you reach down here and grab that gun, it can come up closed on you, so you have to be careful about that. So if you do load it that way, you'll have to take it and drag it to keep it from going closed. If you have one of these into a wall, well, there's no way to do that if it's on the side of a prop or something. So you're not going to be able to do that. The only way you're going to be able to stage it this way if it's an open area like this is. So in most cases, you're going to end up having to stage the shotgun this way, whether you're a right or a left-hand loader. And in this situation, I actually like the right-hand load a little better than the left-hand load because I don't have to reach as far for the gun. Let's start with the right-hand load. If I'm a right-hand loader and I'm coming in from this direction, I'll come down and I'll actually grab the gun up in here and turn it up like this and then just shift the gun as I'm loading. Now you can go all the way down. If you're not comfortable with that, you can go down to where it breaks right here and pick it up this way and load. But in my case, I'll just bring the gun in, I'll just pick it up. Oops, there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'll come in and I'll grab the gun here and roll it up and just shift it like this. This gun is extremely loose. I need to do a little work on it. Now, if I'm a left-hand loader, what I'm going to need to do is come all the way down to the grip in here, because I've got the shells in my left hand. Now I got to reach a lot further than if I'm a right-hand loader. So you're having a squat lower, and you need to roll the gun out and up. There again, you don't want to be careful about just picking the gun up. It'll go closed on you. So you'll need to come into it and drag the gun up and roll it up, bring it in your shoulder, and then load. If I'm coming from this direction, it's a lot the same principle. If I'm going to be a right-hand loader, I'll come in and I can grab it right here and roll it up and shoot. And actually, it's a little easier for me moving this direction because my left hand's in position to grab it. If I'm a right-hand loader, it's a little more difficult. You need to roll that gun back at you this way. You come in and you roll it up this way. Instead of, if you try to roll it to you, it's awkward because now it's hard to bring that gun up and over and roll it and try to shift your hand. You want to get your hand to where you don't have to move it. It'll roll into your hand. So if I come in and I roll it up this way, it's harder, you're getting into everything. So it's easier to roll it out here, and it rolls right up into the grip. Now, putting the gun away, that's another problem with a double barrel. After you fire the gun, you need to open it, shuck the shells, and just let that butt hit the ground. And you drag it in, let it go. If it's going this other direction, you fire, let it hit the ground, shift hands, and go this way. That's the safest way to put one up. If you don't let it hit the ground first, as you set it in, it can go closed on you. So that's working the double off the ground. Hope you enjoyed that.